Large posh saloons are the status symbol of the corporate car park. And for those who don't want to follow the German crowd, there are some interesting choices from Britain, Sweden and America.
But which did you choose between the Jaguar XF, the new Volvo S90 or the Ford Mondeo Vignale? Wait a minute, that noise reminds me of a taxi being pulled up outside my house at 4 o'clock in the morning to take me to the airport. Oh.
To help you decide which of these three is best for you, I'm going to critique their designs.
This new Jaguar XF looks, well, rather like the old Jaguar XF.
Inspect their cabins.
It's a bit like a piece of IKEA furniture.
See how practical they are.
It does pop open, albeit just halfway.
And test what they like to drive.
If fun's one of your major concerns, yeah, probably don't get this.
But first, let's talk Turkey. Well, money actually, and how much these cars cost.
Now, if you're after a premium saloon, you're going to want a diesel engine and an automatic gearbox. And for the diesel auto of the Ford Mondeo Vignale, it starts from £31,200. Volvo S90 D5, that starts from £32,555, and the Jaguar XF 2-litre diesel with an automatic gearbox starts from £34,050. But those are the list prices. What really matters is the price you're going to pay at the dealer. Now, if you click it there to go to carwow.co.uk, you can see the best deal you can get on these cars.
On average, you can save £4,288 on the Jaguar through CarWow, £2,458 on the Ford, and £3,129 on the Volvo. Speaking of which,
for me, the S90 is the one that stands out as the most stylish. That front end, it just has so much character. It's as if it's going, I'm a Volvo and I'm not boring. Well, not anymore.
There's some neat features too, like the Thor hammer headlamps, strong creases and a distinctive rear end, which won't be to everyone's taste. But at least Volvo's tried something different.
This new Jaguar XF looks rather like the old Jaguar XF. That's no bad thing though. It's a great looking car, though it does look better in a different colour paint scheme and with larger alloy wheels.
The Jaguar is the most classy of the cars, with its swooping sporty bodywork and neat and tidy lights. Though there's something a little bit middle-aged about it.
The Vignale has some styling upgrades over the normal Mondeo, such as a unique grille and various bits of chrome trim. There's also an upgrade to the customer service, so you get access to a 24-hour helpline, special lounges at Ford dealerships and free car washes.
Trouble is, you'll have to constantly explain this added service to your friends to justify why you paid extra for a blinged-up Mondeo. And it's the same story in the cabin.
Inside the Vignale, you get some quilted leather seats, there's piping too, there's leather on the dash, there's also leather up here and here, though, look at this nasty cheap bit of plastic. That just brings you back down to earth and reminds you you're in a Mondeo.
The infotainment system of this particular car feels a bit lacking too. That's because it has the sluggish Sync 2 system. Though now, if you buy a Vignale, it comes with a superior Sync 3, which also incorporates Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So, how does the Volvo compare?
Inside, it's all very simple, minimalist, very, very Swedish. In fact, it's a bit like a piece of IKEA furniture. Actually, that's a lie, because it feels, way better made than a piece of IKEA furniture. And I've got a digital driver's display and what looks like an iPad for the infotainment system.
It's a really slick bit of kit to use, and it's easy to find the menus you want and control a range of the car's functions from safety kit to the navigation. However, Apple CarPlay is a £300 option, though you won't need to upgrade the stereo, as a standard one is easily the best of the three cars here. Speaking of which,
the Jaguar XF definitely feels the sportiest to sit in, and on the whole, quality is really good, though in places, some of the materials are a bit flimsy. Now, if you're going to buy this car, you don't want the standard infotainment system because it's not very good, but the upgraded one, it's lovely.
It swipes, zooms, and when it comes to the satellite navigation, you can find addresses quickly. It's all very intuitive, and you can access many of the car's functions through the screen as well. Plus, because the system is so good in its standard form, it doesn't really matter that it lacks Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And that brings us on to rear passenger space, as these cars will be used for family or friend transport.
The problem with the old XF was that it was a bit pokey in the back seats, but this one is much better. There's easily enough room, even for adults quite a bit taller than me.
It's actually okay even with 3 in the back, the only problem being the cramped footwells. Still, fitting a child seat is easy thanks to the massive rear doors. It's a similar story with the Volvo, though it benefits from flip-up rather than pop-out Isofix anchor covers, so you won't lose them.
Volvo is famous for its seats, and it's given the front very thin backs, and that means that you have loads of legroom here in the back. I mean, you can really stretch out, and it is a spacious, comfy car to sit in. You know, I could go miles in the back of this car.
The Volvo is the best car here for rear passengers, though not by much, and with 3-up, it's not really much better than the Jaguar. So, how does the Mondeo Vignale fare?
There's easily enough space here in the back of the Vignale for most people. It just doesn't feel quite as roomy as in the back of the Volvo S90 or Jaguar XF.
The sloping roofline means there's a tad less headroom than in the other two, while the narrower body isn't so good for a threesome. Though fitting a child seat is still a breeze, and overall the Ford is still a big, practical car.
This may well be a posh Ford Mondeo, but you don't actually get an automated tailgate, although it does pop open, albeit just halfway.
Still, there's plenty of space in the boot, 516 litres in fact, and actually the Mondeo is the best car here for carrying stuff, though not by much.
The S90 gets an automated tailgate as standard, and the boot capacity is 500 litres, though with these cars it's not necessarily the size that matters, it's what you do with it that counts.
And the Volvo pretty much has enough space for most people's needs. If you need to carry more stuff, then maybe you should get the V90 Estate instead.
In terms of its capacity, the XS boot is easily large enough. The problem is that it's quite narrow towards the back, and that does make it a little bit harder to pack full.
This means that even though it has the largest outright capacity of 540 litres, it's harder to load. And overall, you'll be able to squeeze slightly less into the Jaguar than the other two, whether the rear seats are up or folded down. And it's a similar story with in-car storage. There's sufficient cubbies about the place in the XF, but those in the Volvo S90 are bigger and more usable, as are those in the Ford Mondeo Vignale. So that's all the sensible stuff dealt with. Now let's see how these cars compare on the road.
It's pretty clear that this Volvo S90 is set up with comfort as its key priority. So the seats, they're super relaxing. The suspension deals really well with bumps. It's quiet at speed. The only thing is though, it doesn't feel particularly sporty like other saloons do. So if fun's one of your major concerns, yeah, probably don't get this. This is more sedate, shall we say. In terms of engines, dead easy to choose. There's just 2 diesels, so you're limited actually. You may as well just get the lower power D4, 190 horsepower in this car. It'll do 0-60 in about 8 seconds and should return 64 miles per gallon, though I'm getting 44. On the whole though, this is an impressive car to drive. It's not fun, but it doesn't need to be fun. It just needs to be pleasant. And that's exactly what it is.
However, if you want your Volvo to be a bit more sporty, the more powerful D5 all-wheel drive version is worth considering. But when it comes to handling, it appears the British do it best.
So this Jaguar XF is different to the other 2 cars in the fact that it's rear-wheel drive rather than front-wheel drive. And that gives you a sense of being pushed out the corners, and it just makes it feel more sporty and more fun to drive. Yet it's still very comfortable. The only slight downside is that it's not as quiet to travel in as the Volvo. The engine's smooth, the gearbox is smooth, but sometimes when you put your foot down it can be a bit slow to respond, but it's not too bad. This is the lower powered 2-litre diesel, and if you get in this car I suggest you upgrade to the higher powered 2-litre diesel, as it's more than fast enough and should give decent economy. This one I'm getting 47 miles per gallon. It's alright.
As with the Volvo, you can get this Jaguar with all-wheel drive for added grip, and the same is true of the Ford.
So driving the Vignale, and it's all rather pleasant. It steers well, it handles well, it's quiet, it's comfy. I've got very little to complain about really. The engine's good, so is the gearbox. It's just that at the end of the day, I'm driving a Mondeo and it feels just like a Mondeo, and I can get a Mondeo for a lot less money than this. It just doesn't have the extra polish that you get with true premium cars, like you get with a Volvo, like you get especially with the Jaguar. And it's always going to have that going against it.
So then, where does all that leave us?
Well, if you can buy into the whole Vignale being a premium brand thing, then yeah, this car's worth a look because it's fully loaded. You don't need to spend extra on kit. You are good to go. The Jaguar XF, it does loads of things well, and it is the most superior car here dynamically. It is good fun to drive. But then we have the new Volvo S90. You know, this car looks great, it's got the right image, it's comfy, it's spacious, and it is loaded with kit. And for a car with a premium badge, it's surprisingly good value for money. And that is why it wins this test.
Please like, share and comment on this video and click on our logo to subscribe for more videos, or click on the windows to watch the detailed reviews of each of the cars in this test.